So in the vein of getting things out of my backlog, we have Jungle Comics by Chuck Dixon and Kelsey Shannon. Now, I remember, like, this was after the whole sort of Arctic Press debacle thing. And I did this because I like Chuck Dixon, and at the time I wanted to support Kelsey Shannon. So I got the Kelsey Shannon cover because I wanted his autograph and I wanted Chuck Dixon's autograph, which, as you can see, I now have. So I'm happy with that. This was supposed to be a throwback, of course, to the old kind of like Tarzan jungle comic-y era kind of thing. And I really love the artwork, and it does fit in as it's supposed to. You know, it makes you think that kind of like Tarzan, you know, kind of vibe thing. Like, it really kind of throws you back. But it's surprising because it's sort of like it's modern at the same time. And so, you know, like, you have the beautiful woman, you have the guy, and, you know, and you just have the modern take of, you know, he's been living this life, she's not been living this life. And so now there's that kind of tension. And it's kind of like I don't know what was necessarily the intention of it, but I'm pretty sure it's sort of, I don't know, it's interesting. And I liked it when I read it. I did like it when I read it. Not necessarily sure if, like, how can I say this? I wasn't necessarily sure if I would continue reading it as a series. But I liked the start of it, and I was intrigued by the idea, and that was something that I wanted to see how they would pull it off. And it is definitely a traditional first issue comic where it's introducing you to the story. So you're getting, you know, the story, and it ends much more with a cliffhanger because it's an issue. It's not a graphic novel. And that probably is, for me, going to be the harmful thing, because at this point, if I'm not going to my local comic book shop, I don't know that I'm going to want to keep buying issues on Indiegogo, because the issues are then more expensive. And if I don't enjoy it and it's just a regular floppy comic, that doesn't make me feel like I'm getting good enough value. Now, I can say in this case, because I'm getting, you know, the signatures, I can feel like, okay, it's a little bit more value for buck, because, you know, otherwise I wouldn't have it. Like, if I go into the comic book shop, then I just get the comic itself. But so it is kind of the trade-off. But this is kind of, and even just in thinking of this, because like I'm now at that point where it's like kind of like decision time, because it's the year, I mean, in part because it is the year 2020, but it is sort of like a decision time of what kind of comics and whatnot am I going to be willing to deal with at this phase. And like, I'm really thinking, oh, which, yeah, spoiler, there are dinosaurs. So it's yeah, it's something I'm going to have to talk about and think about, because I don't think that I'm going to be doing floppy comics like this anymore on platforms like Indiegogo, because I feel like this definitely takes away from my comic book shops. And I already, don't like the fact that I haven't been able to go there because comics have not been in a place of drawing me in. Like the graphic novels, I don't mind because they're larger, but that's what I'm going to continue to need. I'm going to need sort of like larger than life kind of books that are going to, be worth that cost, be worth that risk. Like an example of that is, like the Bigfoot Bill Earthworm Jim, because I know that that's what Duck to April wants to do. He wants to do those big, kind of like epic books. I'm willing to do that. Other things like things are going to have to really start changing. And one of my hopes is that in 2020, people really start thinking more innovatively about the kind of changes that they want to see. Like, because there has to be a way of making these books more accessible for people and making it easier and being able to help the shops and help people get in, because I still maintain, I can't stand DC right now because they gave Superman to Brian Michael Bendis, and Superman was the main reason I was going to the comic book shop week after week after week, because I was getting both the Superman comic and I was getting Action Comics, and because they, were off week kind of thing. Like, it took me in every week. And you go in every week, you don't just get one comic. You start looking at everything else. You start, taking risks and chances and flipping through and deciding. And I miss that. I really miss that. And like right now, I don't feel like going in, because if I can't get Superman, if I can't get DC to do Superman properly, it's going to be a problem. So with this, because I know it's supposed to be a review about Jungle Comics, but it's really kind of pushing me into a place where decisions are having to be made and thought about, and and things like that. So I don't know. It is a good first issue. And it has some kind of like it has like samples of other comics and things that are kind of along that same, Shauna the Fire Hair. So it's kind of like a preview of another comic that's coming out that's sort of, I guess, going to be similar to. I didn't necessarily have interest in it, but it's because it's the same thing of, I don't know that I want to buy regular issues off of Indiegogo, because the wait is too long. The wait is not enough for me. And unfortunately, though I like this, I probably am not going to continue on with this. I probably wasn't going to continue on with it anyway, because it wasn't necessarily my jam. It was just the opportunity to see what Chuck Dixon and Kelsey Shannon were going to do together. And it was a chance to see sort of like that throwback art, which, Kelsey did a great job on. I really, really, really love this art. I love this cover. I am so glad that I got this cover. So yeah, if you like this, hit the like button, Hit the subscribe button, the bell for notifications, share, do all of that. And I will see you on the next video. Bye.